Welcome to the Screen Guide Podcast, a podcast aimed at bringing context, commentary, and conversation to the blank that you love.
I'm your host, Derrick.
And I'm Daniel.
What's the blank that we're filling in today, Daniel?
Today we're breaking down the summer releases of 2026.
But first, what we've been watching.
What have you been watching?
I have been watching a lot of incredible films in the past week. Firstly, one of my favorites has been My Father's Shadow, a UK-Nigerian collaboration directed by Akinola Davis Jr., an incredible semi-autobiographical film about Akinola Davis's life and his brother's life and his relationship with his father. They basically go on a trip to the city during the day, and in that time frame you learn so much about who he is, the history of Nigeria at the time. It was 1993 and a historical moment happening then. I cried. It is a beautiful film. It won a BAFTA. I forgot which specific award, but
like a directorial debut for a British director, I believe.
Yeah. And I mean, it is such a powerful film. I mean, it makes you think about your own relationship, my own relationship with my father, just my relationship with my brothers. And I was crying by the end. And I know this is your favorite film of 2026, even though, is it a 2025 or 2026 release?
Did you put this on your 2026 or 2025 list?
I haven't yet because it technically qualified for the Oscars last year. And that's normally how I go about it they tried to nominate it and it wasn't nominated. Now, I don't know if they could do it this year. If they could, like I Swear is one, then I might put it in 2026. But right now it's in my 2025 releases. It's just that weird January through April is that weird time frame where movies kind of get lost in the mix of my top 10 lists of the year.
Yeah, this was like a February 6th release here in the United States and actually in England. It was released in Nigeria in 2025. I put this on my 2026 list as my number one, and I think partially because I saw it in theaters rather than waiting to see it in streaming. And so when it's a theatrical release domestically and I get to see it in theaters, I generally go that for my list. And so because if I look at my 2026 top five, most of them say 2025 releases. My second one, Obsession, was a TIFF release, I think. I think Bone Temple is the only thing in my top five that's an actual legit 2026 release. I'm so glad that you were able to see this one because I really knew that you were going to love this one.
I really was reflecting on my entire life and was like, oh man, why are we doing this right now? And when you watch a movie late at night and you're like, maybe I should go to bed, but I'm going to put this movie on. Right. And now I can't really fall asleep because I'm kind of meditating on this film. And I think that's just the power of a really great film. And it just moved me a lot. And I hope a lot of people do watch this. It's on digital if you want to get it right now, but I might move it to my 2026 release. You might have convinced me. It would be like in my top five easily of this year. It's just that good.
Another one that I saw this week, Waste Man, was a 2025 release in England, in UK, but it's coming out this weekend in the United States. I put it on my 2026 release because of that domestic release. This is a film that kind of reminded me of Steve from last year with the way it was shot. Were you able to see Netflix's Steve?
I didn't watch Steve, but this is the one with David Johnson, correct?
Yeah, David Johnson and Tom Blythe. I think it's my second Tom Blythe film I've ever seen. The other one being the Russell Crowe Robin Hood from back in the day.
Not a bad film. Not a terrible film. It's a dad film. I love that movie.
He played a feral child is what his role was. I didn't know that you were a big Russell Crowe Robin Hood fan.
Not a big one, but there are movies like that have a special, I watched this with my dad, and that's one of those movies that I'm like, I don't remember if it's actually good. If I were to rewatch it, I might have a different experience, but the nostalgia. It's going to hit me every time.
The movies I want to tell you, though, that I watched this week, though, I'm going back in the past. You know me.
Yep.
Older films. Since last time we recorded, I've seen 3 Hitchcock films.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to complete the guy's filmography, but he's got a lot of older ones, 2 of which were fine, and then one of which is my second least favorite that I've seen thus far. One of them is Under Capricorn, which is a uh, period piece that was released the year after I think it was Spellbound or Notorious, and it has a pretty solid cast. Joseph Cotton, Ingrid Bergman, again, it kind of is tackling with alcoholism, but it's a melodrama rather than any kind of level of suspense or anything like that. It tonally it felt a little off. And then Number 17 from 1932 just didn't land for me.
Okay.
Uh,
Is Hitchcock your second favorite behind Billy Wilder, or where would you rank him in your director's list, like ranking?
he's in the top 10 for me,
Yeah.
but I always go David Lynch for my second favorite. You know, especially having my favorite film of the 21st century by the guy, but like he's my second most watched director and his highs I think he has 4 or 5 stars for me at this point. I mean, he's got some really high highs. You've also been doing some Hitchcock watching as
Yeah.
well, right?
Well, I watched your favorite Hitchcock, Dial M for Murder, literally yesterday. It was Grace Kelly is incredible in that film. I think
Yeah.
I'm forgetting the main actor's name,
That's Ray
Ray
Millard.
Millard, was also great. It was Grace Kelly who like kept coming back to, like she had this kind of this distraught persona, like as the film is unfolding, like it's the reverse of a murder mystery because you know what's happening. So
Yeah.
but it still builds that tension. That's why I love a good Hitchcock film in that way. It's like, oh, I know what's happening, but you're almost trying to unravel what a perfect crime is and what mistakes along the way he might be making. And as it goes on, I really was like, oh, this is a really good film. And if I had my list of Hitchcock ranked, it'd probably rank like maybe four. I still have
Yeah.
like Rear Window, Vertigo. I think I have this above a Psycho, which I think a lot of people would have that above it.
Well,
But
you have Psycho at like a 3.5, I think.
yeah, I'm gonna rewatch it.
Okay. Okay.
There was a time in my life when I was given 3.5s like candy to really great films, like Psycho, Rashomon was another one, Cleo from 5 to 7. I like was going through my list and I was like, what was I on? But I think at that time I was just trying to watch what are
The
the
best.
best films that people
Yeah.
consider, and they didn't blow me away. And then now I've watched almost not 1,000, but hundreds of films later, and you can see how much those films have been referenced, the influence of them, and I also know more about just camera work and the limitations they were going through to make those films. So I'm excited to revisit a lot of those films and Psycho. I still don't know if that will be the one, but hey, at least Dial M for Murder was a hit, and I can see why it's your favorite. But I did want to know, why is it your favorite?
It's kind of tied for my favorite. That and Rope are kind of column 1.1, 1.2 in some ways. I think it looks beautiful, lovely performances, and I think it's just paced so well. I love all of the top 5 that I have. You know, I also have Rear Window in number 3. I think I have Psycho number 4, Rebecca number 5. All of these films are brilliant. Vertigo, which I think is maybe his best film. Man, I love this is just turning into a Hitchcock podcast 10 minutes in. Vertigo, his best film, is still my 5th favorite. I just think that it's amazing, and I love how much and when you read reviews, people are like, "Well, that I saw that coming. It feels pretty obvious." And I'm like, "Yeah, but it didn't when it first came out."
Yeah.
I love these kind of smaller pieces that he have that feel like plays, because it really feels like the tension can be ratcheted up. I really do think all of those films, those 5 are near perfect films. There's like little tight, compact, tension-filled films that make me feel like nothing else.
Yeah, what he's able to do in a very confined space, the camera work, the angles, like I really was like on the edge of my seat, like watching those movies. And yeah, Hitchcock is incredible. And a film that came out this year, pivoting,
Yeah.
we went back and forth. Now we're going back to the future. And these are two movies that we both seen. We have Normal, which I think is a pretty fun action comedy. It's a dad flick. Like
Dad.
you made a
Yeah.
video on it. I put it in my review. This is like high class dad action, which it's a homage to Bad Day at Black Rock. I know this is not a film that you have seen, which now I'm like, you need to watch this so I can hear your
Okay.
thoughts on it.
Okay. Yeah,
Stars
yeah, yeah.
Spencer Tracy, but I mean, it's Bob Odenkirk going to a town as a sheriff, and there's a mystery amongst the people there, the bartender to the bank teller to the mayor. Something feels amiss, and he is trying to figure out what's going on. And it goes like balls to the wall crazy. It truly is like everything that is starting to unfold. You're just like, is that believable? No.
I don't think that's the question here.
Well, that's one of the questions I keep asking, but I think
Yeah.
it helps me to understand, or a question that I sometimes hate that question of like, would that happen in real life?
Believability? Yeah, yeah,
Believability,
yeah.
I throw that out the window.
Get
I'm
it
like,
out.
I don't need that, especially for this film. I'm not trying to look for that sign came down and it killed someone. I don't need to know the physics of that. I actually don't really care. And the movie's not making you want to care. You just want to know from one action set piece to the next what's happening. I gave it a solid 3 stars on Letterboxd because it's just it's a good action flick. And I was probably the youngest person in my theater to watch this by like 30 plus years. Like I really was the youngest person, and I was like, this is a really interesting flick to watch.
Okay, question for you. When I saw this the first time, I saw it at Beyond Fest, and Bob Odenkirk came out actually before the film I saw previously, which was Taking a Pelham 123. And he said, we told Beyond Fest folks a bunch of movies that kind of inspired Normal, including Taking a Pelham 123. And what Bottom Odenkirk said was, you'll know why when you watch this movie. And so I watched Taking a Pelham 123, 35 millimeter print, beautiful, amazing time, second time seeing it. Walter Matthau, Robert Shaw, like amazing film.
Yeah.
Then went out, waited in line, came in and watched Normal. In fact, you can see a clip of me on the Magnolia Instagram page watching Normal. They have like me saying, "Oh my God." I didn't know there was a camera
He's
on me, but
famous, y'all.
I guess there was. They did not use my clip afterwards where they like interviewed me on the street. They did not think I said enough, I guess, but they used me saying, "Oh my God." But I can tell you, I have been racking my brain to try to figure out the deep connections between Taking a Pelham 123. Have you seen Taking a Pelham
I
123?
have. It's one of my favorite films of all time, and I am struggling to find
I think I have it.
the
I think I have it.
the
The
connection point. Okay.
mustaches? Is it the mustaches? There's that one joke in Normal about we're mustache bros. I don't know. Like, I really can't tell besides like Loot and mustaches what the connection is because they're completely different films. I guess they're both dad films in some ways.
Maybe a thriller, like, yeah, I don't I can see that being the silly connection is the
Yeah,
mustache, and it would make sense if that was what they're going for. Because other than that, plot-wise, not
very
really any
different.
connector. I mean, locations very different, even what transpires in those films are completely adjacent from each other. Yeah, so I don't know, but, the mustaches, that we both
Maybe
have
the
them,
mustache.
so
Yeah,
we're mustache bros.
we're mustache bros
We're
for
changing
sure.
the podcast now to that.
We're changing the name. I think I would relate Normal to a poor man's Hot Fuzz in some ways, where it is the cop being transferred to a new place for different reasons than maybe in Hot Fuzz, and then figuring out that things in this small town are not as they seem. And having some of those same action films, some action moments. My favorite parts were the action bits, and my least favorite parts about Normal were all the flashback scenes and the overwrought narration,
Yeah.
which I really don't think
It
we
didn't need
need.
it. We didn't really need it. I really did want them to lean into small towns dying, though. I thought that was a
Yeah,
very interesting premise, and even like, just thinking of how that could have been a really deep message of what's happening in America to small towns and the main streets dying and having to get outside resources to just uplift a community and the community coming. I was like, if they wanted to go there, they could. They didn't really lean into any of those themes, but it still made me think about it, which I think was maybe a win on their part. I had a good time. It was a
yeah,
popcorn flick, and sometimes you need that in between crying from My Father's Shadow to watching this movie.
for sure. Before we go into the future, I want to go back in the past one more time and shout out one more movie because I watched a lot of great movies this week. Got to watch Moon, which is a movie Raggle Fraggle recommended to me, I think, before we were mutuals. I got to watch the new SNL film doc, Lorne, which I don't love talking head documentaries, but that one was solid. But a movie that Miranda and I watched this week that I can't stop thinking about, and neither of us can stop referencing, is this Criterion film called The Girl Can't Help It, directed by Frank Tashlin.
Okay.
This movie begins with this meta moment where this character comes out and the screen's in that kind of like small screen. It's a black and white. And then he's like, this is one of the first films shot on CinemaScope. And then it expands the lens. And he's like, and it's shot in color. And it doesn't change. He's like, no, it's shot in color. And then it like switches the lens on. So there's this like meta level to it. But also, this is who's in this cast. We have the lead characters, Jane Mansfield, who is Olivia Benson's mom. There's a whole documentary about here. We got Edmund O'Brien and Tom Ewell. But we also have Julie London, Fats Domino, Little Richard, like Eddie Cochran. It is a who's who of rock music from the 1950s. And in some ways, according to Wikipedia, without this movie, we would not have the Beatles.
What?
Like this
What?
is a movie where John Lennon was so obsessed that he started playing music, and then he went out and like started playing some of the songs from this in the places where him and Paul McCartney met. And there's some like goofy like song numbers. There's some goofy plotting, but overall it's just joyous and one of the best rock musicals that I've gotten to see.
Okay, so that's The Girl Can't Help It.
The Girl Can't Help It, which do you know the girl can't help it, the girl can't, that song? This is Fergie like
Okay,
samples it,
yeah. Okay, I'm here now.
which is a sample of the song from this movie.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it definitely is one of those. Do you know what year it came out?
Yeah, 1956.
Yeah.
1956, just like really fun, campy. I've been having a lot of fun with those kind of campy Technicolor or CinemaScope films of this time period. So, like in the 1960s, there's the What a Way to Go with Shirley MacLaine. Here in the 1950s, there's The Girl Can't Help It. Just like comedy films that have bright colors, lovely, kind of like Edith Head-esque costumes. It's just something I think if you're in the mood for it, it's that perfect level of both camp and joy and fun.
I'm gonna check it out because if you said it started the Beatles, I've watching a piece of history like that will be exciting.
Yeah, sometimes we got to be thinking about history, and sometimes we got to be thinking about what might become
Oh,
history.
okay, all right, yeah. Write that down. Write that down, listeners, everybody.
But speaking of what might become history today, Derrick and I have a type of challenge. Derrick and I are going to take all of the theatrical release movies coming out from May 1st until August 31st, trying to guess what the letterboxed average score is going to be. Not our friend's score, not what our score is going to be, but the letterboxed average score of each film coming out. And throughout the conversation, we might stop and say, hey, are you excited for this film? Or we might just, if you can
Pass
tell
on
that
it. We're like, we don't want to talk about it.
Exactly. And at the end of the summer, in September, we are going to break down who got closest. And the scoring will be as follows. If you get it right on the money, if you guess the exact average, you're going to get 3 points. If you get 1 point away, you get 2 points. If you get 2 points away, you get 1 point. If you get anything else, 0 points. So you want to be pretty close here. So we're taking this to the end of summer. If you're expecting to hear your favorite Netflix film that's getting released, your favorite Amazon Prime film, your favorite Paramount Plus film that is getting released, not going to theaters, Derrick and I believe in the sanctity of the theatrical experience.
Yes, talk about it. Everyone, go to the movie theaters. If you're listening to the podcast right now, pause it, go to the movies, then come.
Exactly. And so we will not be talking through any of those. And then we're going to break down the 5 movies that we're most excited for at the end of the conversation here. How are you feeling about your predictive abilities about the average letterbox score?
I'm gonna be honest, y'all. I'm gonna be so bad at this. Like, I have not a lot of confidence in my ability to rank. I think I'm gonna be pretty off, but I do think this is a fun exercise to see what other people are thinking. But just first and foremost, I want to say that I will probably be really bad. I'm not accepting defeat yet. I will beat Daniel. I just want to be
You're
worse.
saying
I
you'll
want
be
to be
bad,
worse
but
than you. Yeah, yeah. That's my
okay,
goal. Is not to be
that's great.
that bad.
Watch us get the same guesses every single time. Sean and Amanda of The Big Picture did a similar game where they talked through box office, they talked through Metacritic, and the reason why I went Letterbox is number one to not copy them, and number two, I'm also really curious about an audience's reaction to this thing, a general audience that like the Letterbox user, because I feel like most of our listeners are those Letterboxd users. I don't think most of our listeners are going to Rotten Tomatoes to write something, go into IMDb. I think they are the lords and ladies of Letterboxd, and so I thought that would be a really great place for us to start. On May 1st, 2026, the first film on the docket is The Devil Wears Prada 2. The legacy sequel, the sequel to The Devil Wears Prada. Where are you going, Derek?
I'm gonna say that this is going to be a 3.3 because I see some nostalgia playing in to
Yeah.
people rankings. I feel like a lot of people when it comes to a legacy sequel normally start at 3.5. I feel like if they're going in, they might be like, you know what, and this might be a bad way of thinking of. I'm going to think of my letterbox score beforehand, but I'm just for the sake of this game, I think 3.5 is what people might assume a movie might be for this. But I don't think this will be better than the first one. I think there will be a little bit of disappointment, especially after the trailer, and so people might just give it that 3 because once
Yeah.
again they don't want to review bomb it because I think this is a beloved not franchise, this is the second film, but beloved movie for a lot of people. And so the 3.3 might be a little bit low. I could see it being like a 3.4 would be a better guess, but I'm gonna stick with that 3.3 just
Okay,
for
so you're
that.
not going to change to a 3.4.
Actually, can I change it? If I can
Yeah, you
change
can
it,
change it. We're
all
not
right.
locked in. We're
All right,
not
we're
locked
not
in.
locked in. I'm doing a 3.4 would be
Okay,
my average.
which keeps it kind of fun because I'm actually going with that 3.3. The logic that I went here is that Devil Wears Prada 1 has a 3.8. And I was thinking about other kind of legacy sequels, female driven legacy sequels or spinoffs. Ocean's 8 has a 3.4. And so I'm kind of using that as another Anne Hathaway vehicle. So that 3.4, because I really do think that the trailers have been letting people down. And so I'm going 3.3 here. So you're doing 3.4. I'm
Yep.
doing 3.3. I'll be keeping track of this at home. And so that way we can see where we're at. Okay. I'm nervous for that one. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I'm nervous because I love the first one. The first one's a 5-star masterpiece for me.
Oh, 5 stars.
Yeah,
Okay.
5 stars. Five
All right.
stars. It's one of my wife's favorite films. I think it's a great film. I don't know. The next on the list, Hokum, also May 1st. I'll go first here. Right now, it's at a 3.6, and I don't see a huge change coming for this one. I didn't do other research to like measure it against other horror films, but I'm going to say like a 3.5 is where it's going to wind up in the end. I think Neon does a really good job. I don't see this going low, but I don't necessarily know if general audiences are going to like bump that score way up.
Yeah. I mean, this is the same director, I believe, as Oddity, starring Adam Scott. Oddity sitting at a 3.5 Letterboxd,
Hmm.
and Oddity was a great horror film. I don't know if you were able to catch that, but it was one of my favorite horror films of 2024, I believe. And so I'm gonna once again lower it. I think horror sometimes, especially if Neon, love Neon, but they might market it as one of the best horror films of the year. People might have high expectations, then kind of be like, it didn't meet my expectations, which that's a whole nother conversation between marketing and your expectations going into a film. So I'm going to go lower it as well, but I'm going to go with that 3.4.
3.4. Okay. You're seeing it like kind of, there's a few others that I have with previous directors where I'm like, I'm just going to use what they what
Yeah,
they
yeah,
had in
no,
the past.
truly, truly.
Yeah.
Especially how great Oddity was. I can see people responding the same way here.
Sheep Detectives is the next release. This is May 8th. We're moving forward. We're now like I'm right on my honeymoon. You're killing it in Texas. I don't know what you have planned
I
on May
watch
8th.
watching the Sheep Detectives apparently.
Watching the Sheep Detectives. May 8th. Where are you going for Sheep Detectives? This cast is fucking insane.
It's crazy. I mean, your favorite actor is Hugh Jackman.
Okay, okay. Hugh Jackman, which has 2 films this summer, by the way.
I know. The Greatest Showman out here. Yeah, I don't really know. It's a mystery comedy starring literally sheep detectives. I honestly, I'm gonna go with a 3.
Okay.
I could see this going lower, maybe in the 2s, but I do think this has it's a pretty fun premise that maybe not a lot of people will actually go out and watch. Go watch a movie, y'all. I'm not saying don't watch this movie, but based on the premise alone, I don't know how many people are clamoring to watch this film. But people do love a mystery comedy. They love, Knives Out for kids almost. So I could see
Yeah.
this working in their favor and people hitting that 3, maybe in that 3.1 range.
Are you going 3 or 3.1? Let's be specific here.
All right, I'm gonna go with a 3.
We're going with a 3.
Yeah.
I went with a 3.2.
Okay.
And here's why. I used Babe as an arbiter, which Babe is actually way lower than I think it should be.
Yeah.
I was thinking Talking Animals. I think Babe also gets that bump from being a classic. But I've heard through friends that have seen this because some critics have been able to see this. It's embargoed,
Okay.
but some people, even if they're embargoed, they'll maybe have a conversation with a friend. I've heard that it's good, family friendly fun.
So you have
And
insider trading. I don't know how
no,
fair that
no, no,
is
no, no, no,
for
no, no.
this particular one.
Look, I didn't use that like it's good family friendly fun to
Right.
bump it up to like a 5 star. I'm going 3.2. I think it's like a wide enough difference that like maybe one of us will get more points from this guess. Look, sheep detectives, we
Oh,
need new
I
original
agree.
stories.
Well, I will be watching it, so I will be there, and I might eat my words if it really is a fun movie.
I love that. I love that. Now, we did just talk about an original IP. Now we're moving on to non original IP. On May 8th, we also have Mortal Kombat 2. I went to 2.8.
Okay.
The first one, 2.5. But I think the second one, people are, from what I'm hearing, fans of the original game are more excited about the casting, more excited about the lead characters. I'm hearing more hype for this one than I did for the first one, especially out of CinemaCon.
Yep.
And so while I don't see it going past that 3 star, I think this one will be better reviewed than the first one. And honestly, the information from it makes me more excited as a non Mortal Kombat fan than the first one ever did.
No, I agree. I'm right there with you. But for the sake of the game and not being samesies, I'm gonna go with the
Yeah.
2.9. People have been really excited for this film, and I mean, it has a pretty solid cast, so I'm be excited to watch it myself.
Next is a film I hadn't heard a lot about. May 15th, Is God Is.
This is one of my favorite or most anticipated films of the summer because
Hell
it
yeah.
is in that it's a black film starring Sterling K. Brown, Vivica A. Fox, Janelle Monáe. I don't know previously what the director has done as Alicia Harris, but actually, I think this is actually her directorial debut. But
Oh, amazing.
it just feels like a fun, surrealist, southern thriller. I won't say similar to Sinners. I don't want to compare everything to Sinners, but I watched the trailer and it really was like, oh, this is going to be a really interesting, fun movie to go watch. But there really is not a lot of information to go off of to make a prediction here. But I'm going to give it a, I think a relatively 3.4 because it's a directorial debut. So you don't really have a lot of information. You do have a pretty solid cast,
Yeah.
but it's kind of coming out of left field. I think it's Amazon MGM, so this might hit streaming pretty quickly, and I don't see that always going well for films like these. And I think a 3.4, once again, people going in not knowing anything, they might be more surprised. But by the trailer alone, I really do want people to go watch this. I think it'll be a good watch.
Yeah, I've avoided the trailer, but I loved the sound of the premise. This is our first score that we're actually having be the same. I also went a 3.4. And what I was thinking about was other kind of crime, kind of Southern or black led films. So I was like comparing it to Queen and Slim at that 3.7, having the Daniel Kaluuya versus like the Sterling K. Brown levels. I think this one is a lot more personal, having those two lead female characters and their kind of revenge path. So very different than Queen and Slim. but I was trying to think about other comps that were released around similar times. With the Amazon MGM, they are leaning into theatrical in a way that I never thought they would,
Yeah,
especially with the success of Project Hail Mary, them saying, "Hey, this is not going to our streaming service anytime soon. We are extending this." I could see if it does well. Now, I don't know if it will do well, but if it does well, I could see them holding it. But, I was thinking for a lot of these films, it just depends on who the audience is gonna be.
agreed. A comp that I had was Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul that came out in 2022, starring
Okay.
Sterling K. Brown and Regina Hall. That was a 3.1 overall, but I think once again this has that thriller. It just has a lot more excitement. I think back behind it that will make this a. I think one of the best movies of the summer. I'm hoping it is, but once again, I just want people to go watch an original film.
Speaking of original and speaking of best movies of the summer, the next movie is Obsession. Now, this is a movie that I've seen. This is a movie that is my second favorite film of the year right now. My thing with these festival films that have been kind of rolling out, oftentimes the score that actually settles in is a little tiny bit lower than the people riding the festival high. So right now it's averaging around that 4.0. I see this going down to, I was going to say 3.8. I'm going to say 3.9, where I think that people are still going to love it. Again, I think this is really an ingenious film, but it's the type of film that if you're not seeing it with a large audience, I don't know how much it's going to land. And so, yeah, I'm going to lock it in at a 3.9. I cannot wait for you to see this. I know you get to see it
Yeah,
pretty soon. I just think the use of shadows, the lead actress's performance, this is going to be bone chilling stuff. But you might have people like my wife who came in thinking it was a thriller and left really disappointed because it's pure horror. There are thrilling elements, but it really leans in and ramps up to the horror stuff. There's comedy, but I think Miranda locked it in at like a 1 or a 2 star in the end. So I could imagine some people going in who love thrillers and then get disappointed. So I do think that like it's not going to hold at where it's at. So I'm going with that 3.9.
yeah. Horror always gets that lower bump, but I do know that the buzz has been strong here, and I think I might. I'm just gonna have to concede here because I was gonna go 1.1 lower and go with the 3.9, just because I see a lot of people giving it fours, but like you said, there will be those people who have high expectations and then get disappointed of like, oh, is this the movie everyone's talking about as the scariest horror film of the year? People were saying this is redefining horror. I've heard some, the more uh extreme positions on this movie, and I think people will not like the hyperbolic statements and just be like, that wasn't all it, and then give
Yeah,
it that 2 or 3. So yeah, I'm gonna lock in a 3.9 here as well.
nice. Man, I can't wait for your thoughts on this one. Moving on to In the Gray. He's back. Guy Ritchie. Guy Ritchie. We're still on May 15th. Where are you going for this one?
Yeah, I was trying to look for some comps. I enjoy a good Guy Ritchie action comedy. I mean, he's not been doing as great, I feel like, recently with his work in the like really high scores. I'm thinking of Henry Cavill in The Man from Uncle, which I really
Yeah.
enjoy. That's one of my favorite like films from his catalog, and that's sitting at a 3.5. And I can see this one being a 3.4. Uh, Going based off of just the Man from Uncle. Are you going the same? Were you
No,
going to three? Okay,
I'm not going the same.
oh, you're going lower maybe.
I'm going lower. I'm
Oh
going
gosh,
lower.
I don't know. Maybe there's something about the movie that I don't know about, but I'm gonna go. Maybe Guy Ritchie's back
Okay.
with this one, and it'll be a solid little thriller action comedy that people like.
I didn't go way lower, but we are out of the range of points. So, like, I went 3.1. I used the average of Man from Uncle and the average of Warfare of Gentlemanly Warfare movie with Alan Richardson, kind of his two bigger movies that have come out in the last like 5, 10 years. And the Ungentlemanly Warfare movies at a 2.9. And so I'm going 3.1. If people love it, hell yeah, they love it. But I just feel like Ritchie, and we're gonna get there, but, like, Ridley, there's a few directors who, if you look back at their last, like, 5 films, the average scores are not really hitting it. It's not to say that the movies aren't good, it's that the audiences aren't resonating, and that's a little bit of what we have to think about here is not just, like, how good a movie is, but will general audiences, general letterbox users be vibing?
And they like you're saying, they probably won't. I'm like, maybe he's back,
Yeah, you're saying he's
but
back.
I always hope for the best sometimes. So maybe that's gonna bite me here in the butt.
Speaking of who is back, though, we do have I Love Boosters the next weekend, May 22nd. It's currently at a 3.8. Uh, I'm guessing a 3.6, and this is where I'm going with it. I have it around a 4, like a 3.5 or a 4. Sorry to Bother You is a 3.7. And so I personally think that Sorry to Bother You, I like it a little bit more. And so I'm guessing that general audiences are gonna like this one, but maybe it won't land as much as Sorry to Bother.
Well, you got reposted
I
on
did get reposted.
Boots Riley's Instagram stories. But yeah, I this is one of my favorite anticipated movies of the summer. And so maybe my bias is leading towards it being really good, but I'm gonna go with a you said a 3.6?
I said a 3.6, yeah.
I'm gonna go 3.5
Okay.
because I think I was hearing about this film and the surrealism and maybe some of the once again, it's expectations and people going into it being like, we haven't watched the Boots Riley film in a while. Oh, this is weird. And maybe they get out weirded. Maybe this is the first time with that type of film, or they might fall in love with it. And I want more people to fall in love with it than not like it. But I'm going to go a little bit lower than you just to give some discrepancy
Yeah,
and
yeah,
some
just to
fun there.
keep it fresh a little bit. Moving on to the next film, which is Passenger, a film I haven't heard a lot about.
May 22nd, Passenger. I don't have a lot here. I believe this is a film about people being kidnapped. It's like a supernatural horror film.
Supernatural,
Like
yeah,
they're on a
yeah.
road trip and something starts to follow them. That's basically the premise. I could see this being a not great horror film, or it could be a solid one, but I'm gonna go with a 3.
You're going with 3? I
I'm
love
going
it.
with 3.
I went 3.1. Again, we don't have a lot to work with here. I did last film the director directed is at a 3.2, The Autopsy of Jane Doe, and Lee Cronin's The Mummy is currently at a 2.9, and so I kind of used those 2 as an average. So, I'll be doing a 3.1, you're doing the 3. Maybe Passenger will become our favorite movie of the year.
Let me
Uh,
eat my words. Come on, come on, passenger.
now we got the movie that I know you're most excited for because you're the biggest Star Wars fan I know, and you just love Grogu.
I
So
do.
we got The Mandalorian and Grogu. I did some math here.
Okay, talk
The
about it.
average Star Wars rating out of all 13 films, including the kind of animated one, is a 3.4. And sometimes their the stars are wrong. You know, they have Last Jedi at a 2.4, which, as you know, I think is insane.
Yep.
I will always cape up for The Last Jedi. As much as you think that sentimental value is average, I think The Last Jedi is genius. I also think sentimental value is genius as well.
It's that some would say it's pretty okay.
Okay. Okay. I don't know why I had to bring that in, but I was like,
You're the one that brought it up. I was trying my best not to bring up how flat,
okay, Train
okay,
Dreams. Okay. Okay, Train Dreams.
sentimental
Uh,
values. But
so,
hey, not too much on train dreams.
okay. So your films have to be protected. Uh,
Yeah, they're a
then I
protected
used,
species.
I also used the popcorn score from the season 3 of Mandalorian, which is as a 51 popcorn score on Rotten Tomatoes. I was just like, okay, so people are not vibing on what they've been doing with Mandalorian and Grogu. I went with a 2.5. I don't think audiences are going to love this one. I did not take into account CinemaCon reactions because I think sometimes CinemaCon reactions can be great and some of them can be like, okay, you're just a bunch of people in a room really hyping up this new piece of content. I went with the 2.5. Where are you going on for your favorite franchise, Mandalorian and Grogu?
I love all the Star Wars movies, and I have a lot of knowledge on them. I actually don't. So I'm gonna go a 2.8. I just once again, I don't see a lot of people falling in love with this movie. It's so far into a franchise that it's not gonna bring in as many new like me. I might watch it, I might not, just because 'cause I'm like, do I start here? Do I go watch the series? I don't know. And then when I do watch it, I might get lost a little bit. So I could see people just not vibing with this as much.
Moving on to another one that I don't have a lot to say about, Pressure, May 29th.
Pressure. There's a war film. Brendan Fraser. There's Dwight D. Eisenhower, Carrie Condon, Andrew Scott. It has a pretty interesting
Stacked cast. Yeah.
stack cast. And so I was trying to think of what the score for what there's that recent war movie.
Wait, did you
Um,
do the same thing as I did? Did you do Nuremberg?
I was
Did you?
thinking of Nuremberg.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, that's probably the easiest comp here. That's a 3.5. So I'm gonna go 3.5. Just see the cast being something that people resonate with. It's a solid kind of dad flick movie. Maybe Prestige. Who knows? It might blow us out the water and this time next year we'll be like, yeah, Brendan Fraser won an Oscar. Who knows? Probably not, but
Yeah, I don't see that happening. I also used Nuremberg as the comp. I went a 3.5, so we're tied here. The director's last film was a 3.7, so, it has a good track record. I just don't know if we need another Eisenhower film, and the look of this film, at least the poster, looks very clean, looks
yeah.
very kind of like, all those films everything, not to blame Spielberg, but everything like post Minority Report, all these films look very similar when they're doing these period pieces, even though Minority Report not a period piece. So yeah, I went 3.5 as well. I like that we have some similar but mostly different.
Yeah.
We are trucking along to the breadwinner, May 29th. I used Kevin James type comedies as a comp. I'm going at 2.3. I'm so sorry. I don't think you were a good host for the award show you hosted this year. I'm going at 2.3.
Yeah, I don't has Colin Jost in it when I was looking at the cast. I was like, oh, okay, a little SNL action in there. But yeah, I think this is gonna not be great. So I'm gonna go 2.4.
Now to one that a lot of our friends have seen. I don't think you've seen this one yet. Tuner, going wide, 29th as well. Where are you going for Tuner?
Yeah, Tuner, it has a lot of buzz coming out of Sundance. Uh, Leah Woodall, Dustin Hoffman, Havana Rose Liu, I believe, is also in this. And I see this score. That's has been funny because I've seen the score be really great reactions, but also people
Yeah.
who are like, this not that great. But and it's always tough with these kind of independent indie films. I could if it stays in the indie space, I could see people liking it, and if people have higher expectations, which sometimes might happen with the buzz coming out of it, might go lower. But I'm gonna go zero point 0.2 lower. I'm gonna give it a 3.5 um, for its score.
Yeah, I went at, I also expected it to go lower, especially as it goes wide. We've also heard from friends at the festivals some mixed things. Some people have really been loving it. Some people have said audio design is good. I'm gonna go with a 3.6 here. Ready for the next one?
Uh, the most anticipated for a lot of people
For
of
a
the
lot
year.
of people. Yeah. Backrooms. Backrooms. The original Backrooms found footage has a 3.8. I think people have logged that YouTube video, kind of a YouTube essay video. I think that this will be really well received. And I think people are going to like it. I went to 3.7 for the overall because I think some people are going to really love it. And then I think for some people, surrealism, people struggle with it. But I mean, this cast is amazing. I'm loving seeing Renata Reinsva kind of break out even more. I mean, she's done other A24 American films. She did, I believe, A Better Man a few years ago. I should have looked up what that score was, but I just think that this film is going to be great. Chiwetel Ejiofor, I want him in more solid roles. The last thing I saw him in was, I think, Life of Chuck. So I love seeing both of them in this film together, and I'm really hoping this is a banger. My score is probably going to be higher, but I'm going at 3.7.
Yeah. I did look up you said A Better Man, it is A Different Man.
Different Man. Better
Yeah,
Man's the
yeah.
different one. Okay, okay,
That's the
okay.
one with the monkey. But yeah, I think yeah, A Different Man is 3.8, which is I
Mhm.
don't think this is a direct comp because it's going to be a completely different type of film. And you said 3.7?
Yeah, it did.
I struggle here because I don't know if I should go higher or lower, and I'm actually gonna give it a 3.5. I want
5.
people to love this, but I think some people's expectations, it's sitting at 105 minutes, might be a little bit too long for some people. I feel like people will not love it as much as it's gonna. I want people to, but I just
Yeah.
expectations, man. I don't know.
Expectations can be the enemy of enjoyment is something that I think both of us really do hold a belief in. But I'm wondering if the built-in fan base for this young director and like this the backrooms concept, which is something that I didn't really know a lot about. Like I've known about Liminal Stasis, I didn't know about the backrooms itself, and I can understand maybe people will be disappointed. I'm believing. I'm believing in this one. Moving on to one that I don't believe in as much, which is Masters of the Universe. We're now in June, June 5th. Where are you going for Masters of the Universe?
It depends on how they play this, because I could see this being like a Dungeons and Dragons.
Mhm.
Um, if they kind of lean into that comedy, Honor Amongst Thieves was a big surprise for me when
Yeah,
I watched
solid
it,
one.
and that's sitting at a 3.5. If they try to lean into more of a action adventure, which kind of the trailer was going for, I'm not too hopeful. So I'm going to give it a 3.3. 3.5 was for Dungeons and Dragons Honor Amongst Thieves. I don't think it'll be as bad. Like I'm not going to put it in that 2 space, but at 3.3 feels where people have nostalgia. People who love the original Masters of the Universe, I know people are like ride or die for it, which maybe, expectations may not. I don't think people are expecting too many great things about this. So, gonna go with that 3.3.
Yeah, I think this is our largest gap. I used the original, which is at a 2.5, and then the Mortal Kombat score from earlier. Now, I've heard that the movie itself and the trailer are very different tonally, which I think can set audiences up for failure. So I went a 2.7. I do not see people giving this one a fair chance. I completely understand why you're going where you're going, but man, I do not see this one working, which is disappointing because I like Nicholas Gallatin. I think he's pretty solid. Having Jared Leto is a franchise killer. He's
Yeah.
not. He sours box offices. He sours. I just don't understand who he owes money. Like how he's able to get into all these franchises. It's not going to work, unfortunately, for my mind.
And see, this is where I say I could be really bad at this game, or I could be right on the money. So we'll see.
Yeah. Moving on to Power Ballad. Power Ballad is currently at a 3.5, and I'm sticking around there a
Okay.
little bit. I'm gonna go to a 3.4 in part because if it has that 3.5, I think it'll be around the same score as Once, and there's no way that this film is gonna be as good as Once. Sing
Yeah.
Street is, like, the highest rated, the most popular film by this director. It sounds like a fun concept. I think that there's some winning elements to the cast, but I don't know. I don't see this being a huge hit, but I can see the people going out, loving the music, having a good time. So I'm going with a 3.4. Where are you going to, Ant-Man's Power Ballad?
Paul Rudd starring in it. For those who don't know why he said that, I think this will get a bump. I think this is going to go a 3.6.
Okay.
I feel like the elements of the cast, Nick Jonas, Paul Rudd, there's a fan base there. Havana Rose Liu, back again. I think they're just gonna fall in love with it. I like John Carney, and he has this not easygoingness to his films, but there's something light in a good way, not in in a derogatory sense. But
You're
I
like,
think
I'm not coming at this
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
sentimental
No, I
value. I'm
love
like,
ones.
yeah.
Yeah, no, this is different. Sentimental, but let's not get into it. Let's not get into that movie. But I think there is something light about his film, something that people might warm to, and the reception already has been pretty solid, and I think
Yeah.
people might fall in love with it.
No, I love that. I think one of the words that I thought you were gonna say is like there's an earnest thing to the John Carney films. All of
Yeah,
his films like have a really lovely earnestness to them. There's not a winking quality.
yeah.
And I think we need more of that because I think the Marvelification of a lot of like comedies has made everything feel so winking, and he's just earnest. But the next one is less earnest. Moving on to a Scary Movie, releasing June 5th as well. This is the sixth in the franchise. The average score of all of them is a 2.5. Now, Naked Gun did have a 3.3, and I'm kind of using that as a comp to be like, there are people who want comedies that call back to the past. There are people who want them. People's reactions on TikTok seemed very excited for this. I know there was live streams about it. Our friend Suplex was in that live stream. JDX was in a live stream. Like everyone talking. I think you were in a live stream with them talking about this for a
Briefly.
time. I think people will like this more than the last ones because of having the Wayans brothers back, but I don't think it'll completely land. And so I'm going with a 2.9, which may be generous, but I'm going with a 2.9. Where are you going for Scary Movie?
That's right where I was going, 'cause
Oh, yeah.
it's tough to say it'll pass that 3 threshold, especially this type of horror comedy. None of them have really done well except the first one, I believe, is at a 3.1, and even that is that when you have a movie that is so old, sometimes you just get those 5s based off of nostalgia, and I just don't think this will get that same treatment, so a 2.9 feels right on the money. Maybe a little bit lower, but I think people will like this one. A
Yeah.
little bit, or they might hate it. I think that's where that 2.9 is gonna, like, land. Some people are gonna be like, "This is actually super hilarious," and then this is gonna be, "This is not my type of comedy," and they're just gonna give it that 1-star treatment.
I just really hope that the film does not over rely on we gotta cancel culture, like people are too woke humor, because these comedians are so much more talented than that. But from what I've heard them kind of talk about when this trailer was released and from what I've heard the reactions, to me that's lazy comedy. And the Scary Movies have had some levels of lazy comedy, especially the later ones without the Wayans brothers. But at times they've been authentically funny. And having all of the cast members return makes me hopeful that maybe the script had some really, really funny moments to it. I find when comedians rely on we can't joke about that anymore, I just get exhausted by it.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm like, "Oh, you can't joke about the thing you're joking about right now and getting paid to joke about? Oh, no, your life is hard."
Yeah.
It's tiring, and so I'm really hoping that the movie goes farther than that.
Yeah. This will be a film with 1,000 jokes a minute,
Yeah.
and I think some things will land, and then other things will be not funny at all.
Yeah. Uh, One that I don't know if will have humor though is next on the list. One of my most anticipated films. One of the reasons why Derek and I are trying to watch every single Spielberg film before June 12th. Hey, time's a ticking. We
I
got
know, it's
Disclosure
close.
Day. I'm so excited for this one. Where are you going for Disclosure Day on the score?
I have no clue because I think I'm more excited than other people might be excited for this film, and
Yeah.
so I'm going a 3.2, which feels very low
Yeah.
to where I would rank maybe a Spielberg, but I think there's just a level of disappointment that maybe I woke up this morning and I was like, "Ah, do I go with a 3.7?" That's like I have that there's a range of 3.7 through and I
Yeah.
was like, "I'm gonna go lower just to make it more fun." I think a lot of people are just gonna be disappointed with this film.
So Fablemans has an average of 4, but if we took into account all 3 of his last releases, he has an average of 3.5. Which isn't horrible, but people were a lot lower on West Side Story than I thought they were. I believe in hope. I believe in aliens. I believe in joy. I believe in space wonder created by Steven Spielberg. I'm going with a 3.8. Even if it's not a 3.8, there's no way that Project Hail Mary is going to have a higher. I mean, it will if it's at that
It will.
3.8, but like Disclosure Day, if it's not better than Project Hail Mary, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. And so I'm really excited for this one. This is one of my most anticipated, and I'm going with a 3.8, which is maybe this is now our highest discrepancy, maybe even higher than the last one. I hope this is good.
I hope it's good too. Yeah, all that to say, I'm just relying on general audiences. I don't want it to be I'm not thinking
Yeah,
it's gonna
you
be
are you don't
3.2.
want you want it to be
No, no,
bad?
no,
Is
no.
that what
I
you're
don't want
saying?
it to be bad. I think people will be a little disappointed. A late stage director trying. you know, I think they'll what expectations. I'm just
Yeah.
like, I think people from even a trailer reaction have not been as excited as I thought they would be for Disclosure Day, but that's just me. That's maybe my side of the internet, my algorithm telling me that.
You're listening to the algorithm and I'm listening to my heart. One where I don't know what my heart is saying because I have no comps, I have no information. I don't think we're going to talk about this for long. RuPaul's Stop That Train, releasing on June 12th. No idea what to use as a comp. I'm just going to tell you I'm going with a 3.2 because I think that the people that will go will mostly have fun. We can delete this segment because what the fuck is this movie? We won't delete it, but where are
We'll
you
keep it in.
going? Where are
Well,
you going with Stop That Train?
so my wife, me and Miranda have actually watched RuPaul's Drag Race.
Okay.
We have seen numerous seasons. Now I have no idea what this movie is about. When I was watching the trailer, I was like, I this movie looks just ridiculous, in the good way. But I think there will be a core fan base that will go watch this, and then people who may not give it the fair shake that it needs. So I think this is the tough part because it's a theater release. People who go watch it in the theater, I think, will like it. When it reaches streaming, it may go down. So I'm gonna go with a 3.1 here.
Okay. 3.1. So we're pretty close. You're going 3.1. And I didn't know I had a RuPaul fan in the house. Now, people might not know this because we always say, like, I watched this movie with Miranda. I want people to be clear. We are not watching it with the same Miranda.
Yeah,
Derrick and I, both married individuals, not to
yeah,
each other, have wives named Miranda who are two distinct, different people.
yeah.
So, just want to,
Throw that
you
for
know,
anyone who's like,
say
I
this
can't
Miranda
say.
person is watching a lot of movies with both of you.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
Different Mirandas.
Different Mirandas.
Toy Story 5. Toy Story 5, June 19th. Taking the lead. Where are you going?
Man, I don't know because I actually act pretty excited, more
Yeah.
so than I was for Toy Story 4, because this feels like a return to the Toy Story dilemma of, toys, and are we playing with toys? Now we have a leapfrog coming in. So I don't know where I'm gonna go here. I don't think it'll be in the fours. I think that's too high, but I don't think it'll be as low as a Toy Story 4, which I believe that score was a 3.3. So I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I think
Okay.
there will be a level of enjoyment here from people. I think that's always my baseline of maybe people are kind of excited, but it'll be better than Toy Story 4.
Yeah, the average of the previous four Toy Stories is a 3.8. The average of the past three Pixar films is a 3.4. I'm going with a 3.7. I think people are going to enjoy this. I think we're around the same, but do I need more Toy Story? No, I think after the third one, we were good. We had an ending that was satisfactory, but I understand why they're returning back to it. I have no idea how they're going to get Woody back to everyone. I'm sure they'll work it out just fine. But I think people are going to like this one. I think the lily pad is a
Yeah.
really smart kind of villain. Look, Pixar is hit or miss these days. I think that they've been on a pretty good run, especially with Hoppers. I didn't love Elio, but they know what to do with Toy Story. So I think we're in around the same area. But now we get to return back to your favorite actor, which is Hugh Jackman in The Death of Robin Hood, releasing on June 19th. I don't have a lot to say about this film. The trailer does not do it for me. I'm going with a 3.2 based on the director's past work.
Okay. This could be a very fun one if we're thinking about the movie Pig, which is one of the director's previous films. But A Quiet Place Part Day One was a franchise film. I don't. What is it? What do you like it?
I
What's
like A Quiet. I think that Lupita Nyong'o is really great in it. There's a cat. You know me. I like it.
It wasn't bad by any means, but it's the kind of that franchise that do we need another one from?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know, and I think that's what people were kind of maybe just retired. So I just don't know about Hugh Jackman in that role. The cast, I mean, it has Bill Skarsgård. I think this will be a little bit more well received and I'm gonna go a 3.6.
Love to hear it. Moving on, the same weekend, Girls Like Girls, June 19th. Not a lot about this that I could find in my quick research. Did you have some comps for Girls Like Girls?
I did not. I couldn't think of a movie that is similar. I mean, it's Haley Kiyoko making her directorial debut, so that just made it like I have no idea what this could be. I mean, Love Lies Bleeding, maybe, like, but I don't know if there's gonna be that level of genre to it that keeps it there. So if it's just a romance drama, I'm gonna go with 3.4.
And I
Ah,
followed
yeah,
uh,
maybe. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna go with 3.4.
you went 3.4, very
Yeah,
cool. I followed your logic where you know, if I don't know a lot about it, and I think that the people that are gonna go show up are gonna enjoy it. I don't know how many people are gonna show up, but we're not box office predicting. I went 3.5 here just because I think the people that like the film will like the film, and I think queer people want more queer representation, and we need that. The next one I also will see, I have less hope that audiences will be as receptive. James Gunn's Supergirl. I used Captain Marvel's 2.6 and Superman's 3.8 to guess that this is going to be a 3.1. I
mm,
I think that when it comes to female led superhero films, people are less receptive, especially a certain section of fandoms are less open. And the trailers have not felt like they had the same livelihood that Superman had. But I still think people will enjoy being in this world. So I'm going 3.1.
yeah. I was thinking of even the previous director's work. Directed I, Tonya,
Mhm.
which is a solid film. Cruella, Lars and the
Solid.
Real Girl, 3.8. So if it's in line maybe with that humor, which I'm hoping for. I think I want the Supergirl to have a level of humor, self awareness, but have an intensity to it. And I think I, Tanya maybe bumps it up in my mind. So
Sure.
I'm gonna go a 3.4 here for Supergirl.
I love that. I mean, I want it to be that good, and I actually think it will be good. My fear is just how especially male audience members react to superhero franchise films because I think Captain Marvel is a good movie. I think a 2.6 for Captain Marvel is insanity. And so for this one, my guess is not about the quality, it's about the audience's reaction and their ability to hold space for films that don't center white men as superheroes.
I
Sorry, fanboys. I don't trust
No, no, no.
you.
I literally was like, I agree with you. I think the quality of the movie maybe is where I'm thinking of. I think it'll be a solid flick, but I agree with you that films like these never get the fair shake that they deserve.
Yeah. But films like Jackass, they get the fair shake that they deserve. Releasing the same weekend. This is, I think, the fifth Jackass film, if we're not counting Bad Grandpa.
Do we count
A
it?
Okay, so then I did when I calculated my average, I did not count Grandpa into the average. Where are you going on Bad Grandpa here?
Man, it's tough because
Not bad on
no, about
Jackass,
Jackass. I was about to say, uh, it's tough because Jackass Forever got a 3.5,
right?
and I think people kind of like the Jackass films.
They do.
And I don't think I think that level of humor is right in line with it, and I'm gonna go with 3.5. Just
Okay.
people who are gonna go out to watch it are gonna love it, and when it hits streaming, I think it'll still be the same type of love.
Yeah, and I went the same. I'm a 3.5 here. The average score of all the Jackass films combined is a 3.4. I think that this being marketed as the final hurrah, which they kind of did with Jackass Forever as well. But I do kind of believe them now. They're getting old.
Yeah,
I don't know how often they can do this. I went with the same thing here.
I think there will be another one. I'm gonna say that now they're gonna be even later on. They're gonna be like pushing 7. If they, I'm not gonna say that when they make it that far, they might be like 70, 80. They're still gonna
Yeah,
try to make another one.
run the concept into a ground until you're buried is
Yeah,
basically what you're saying.
a new generation of Jackass will
There we
emerge.
go.
Yeah.
There we go. The Invite is our 25th film of the summer. This is June 26th. It's currently at a 3.9. Booksmart is at a 3.7. I've heard nothing but good things about this film. I know that her last film did not have the best buzz. There was some drama on set, but I think this being a four-hander, this being an adult comedy, I didn't look up what Splitsville is at, but it's kind of like I think Splitsville is the closest comp non-Olivia Wilde film-wise. I'm going with a 3.8. Very excited for this one. This is our opening night feature at the Chicago Critics on June 1st.
Yeah, big buzz out of Sundance. One of the movies I wish I was able to see, but it was could not get in to watch this one. It was packed. And I agree, 3.8. This is maybe the year of Olivia Wilde. She's also in Greg
Oh, yeah.
Araki's I Want Your Sex, and she's incredible in that. So I think this will be well received.
You going 3.8 as well?
3.8 as well.
Amazing. Twins. A
Mustache
and
Bros. Let's go.
Mustache Bros.
The Mustache
Yeah,
Bros podcast.
Mustache Bros podcast coming in with Mustache LLC, Minions and Monsters. These yellow guys cannot quit. July 1st. July 1st here. Who wants to go first? You or me?
Why don't you go first? You
Yeah,
love the
yeah.
Minions. You have I remember you saying the Minions saved my life.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the Minions are the most consistent franchise ever made. Get out of here, Fast and Furious. Get out of here, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. Like, people have been saying, will Dune trilogy be as good as Lord of the Rings? And I think that's the wrong comp. I think that
Mhm.
they should say, will the Dune franchise meet the height of the Despicable Me franchise? And how their world building it's so good, it's so raw,
It's
it's so real. They're telling real life stories, and I do think that those little yellow guys are the best thing to come out of the 2000s when it comes to IP. I'm serious. This is not being this is not
Oh, yeah.
hyperbole. I can
Who's your
go all
favorite
day.
Minion?
I do remember seeing this film, Minions. I remember seeing the Minions. I think it came out around the same time as the first Minions came out around the same time as Inside Out. The average for all of them, these movies, is a 3. It's 3 stars if we add up all these Despicable Me's and Minions films. Although I think the Minions alone are actually stronger than the Despicable Me franchise post Despicable Me 1. I think when you get rid of Gru, for some reason, people are like, "Oh, we just get to see the yellow guys do the yellow thing." And so I'm going with a 2.9, where I think that it'll be better than the average of the recent Despicable Me films, which have been really abysmal, but not as it's not good. Like, this is not
Yeah.
like, I don't think people are gonna love this because it's not meant for people that are logging on Letterboxd. I mean, there are teenagers and young people logging on Letterboxd, but I think the average adult film goer is not gonna have a great time. So I'm going with a 2.9.
2.8. That's kind of where I was going. I was going 3 being the average, and then people not loving it as much. They might love Bob and Kevin as the Minions, but
Bob and Kevin, not main characters of this
not
film.
main. Yeah, they're in it, but not. I mean, they're going back in the past.
Yeah.
So we're getting the origins of the Minions. Maybe that might work for people.
So you're going 2.9 as well?
2.9 as well.
Moving on to I'm so glad that I went first for that one because now you get to go first for this one. Where do you think Young Washington, a new film from the same production company of Sound of Freedom, which was your favorite film of 2023, I believe.
Yeah, nice. Glad I went first on that. On
Yeah,
this
so
one.
where's your favorite film of the year, Young Washington, going?
Angel Studios has a pretty dedicated fan base, so
They do.
it'll be interesting here. I mean, it has Ben Kingsley, Andy Serkis, Mia Rogers. Like,
Is this fan base also logging on Letterboxd is the big question. Is the Sound of Freedom fan base big Letterboxd heads?
I don't know, but also, will people know it's an Angel Studios film going
Nope.
into it? You know,
Yeah.
like that
Yeah,
might
yeah.
be part of it. Some people just watch a movie and they're like, oh, I didn't know. They don't. They might not know who the production company and all that associated with it. So, Sound of Freedom is sitting at 3.4. This is a historical retelling of George Washington. Will they get all the facts right? I have no idea. Uh, I don't think it'll be as well received critically, but maybe an audience member who is seeking out or wanting that retelling of George Washington will love it. So I'm going to go with 3.3 is going to be
Okay.
my best guess here.
I went 3.1. Sound of Freedom 3.4. I think people that love it are gonna really love this one. But the next one, I don't know if anyone's gonna love it. Moana. Moana. I get to go first here.
Yeah,
Lilo and
first,
Stitch. Oh,
what are your thoughts on The Rock's wig is the first question I have for you.
do you think I've studied this trailer? Do you think I've like actually spent time watching this trailer?
Not the trailer, but you've seen the clips.
I've
You've
seen people
seen it.
react to it.
Yeah.
I think that The Rock's wig is not the worst part about this trailer and about this performance and about the clips that I've seen. The wig is a distraction from the rest of everything that looks bad, is what I'd say here. I think that this practice of these live action remakes of good films is abysmal. That's not breaking new ground. I'm of the mindset if you're going to make a live action remake, make it of something that didn't get enough love the first time, whether the script didn't give it enough love, like it didn't work the first time, or it didn't get enough eyes. Like Your Beloved Treasure Planet, I would actually be okay with a live action remake because it didn't get enough love the first time. It's an
Eh,
amazing no, 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 listen, it's
I
an
know what you're
amazing.
saying. I know what you're saying.
I'm not saying I'm saying it's amazing, therefore we need more eyes on it versus like a Moana, which has enough eyes.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I don't want them to do it for anything. But if they're going to do it, I would much rather them do it for an old IP that is amazing and didn't get enough attention. Moana is new IP, very recent IP, has enough love. We don't need this thing. Lilo and Stitch, though, did get a 3. Lilo and Stitch has I'm so surprised that that's their average for Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
I'm going in the 2.5 for this one. I could imagine it being lower. I bet you maybe went, I don't know where you went, but I do not see this film being good at all. I think they're going to be writing on the music of Lin-Manuel Miranda, and that is it.
I'm gonna go with 2.8. I don't see it being a good film, but people sometimes will review hike this movie, like because they watch it with their kids, so they're like, you know what, they had a great time, so I'm gonna log it based off that experience, which is not a bad. You can log however you want, but I think it'll get a little bit of a higher bump in that regard. But yeah, from the trailer alone, I'm not excited for Moana live action.
One that I haven't seen the trailer for, and I had to look up the full title, Gail Daughtry and the Celebrity Sex Pass. I like David Wayne projects. I think David Wayne's is pretty solid with Wet Hot American Summer. Where are you going with Gail Daughtry?
Yeah, it's currently sitting at 3.4 on Letterboxd. Has had a festival releases already and has been pretty solid, nothing too crazy. And I think it'll just go down a little bit. I'm going to give it at 3.3.
3.3. I also went 3.3, uh, partially because his last film got a 3.2. I don't know much about this one, but I'm excited to go. I try to actually learn the least amount of most films that come out so I can just go in and not have expectations. For example, I have not seen the first 10 minutes clip of The Odyssey.
Wow. I
This is
mean,
the
neither.
next one we're talking about. Yeah, I've tried to stay away. I know a lot of people are very excited for it, but this is another one of my most anticipated films. Call me basic. I don't see this one reaching the highs of Oppenheimer when it comes to the score. I do think this will be. I don't know. I mean, I know it's action, so maybe it'll get more action head. So maybe I'm being wrong about this, but I'm going with a 4.0, like a really solid. This is going to be a beloved film of the year, but I don't necessarily think it's going to be as big of an Oscar contender or as big as like an audience. Maybe it'll be and Sword and Sandals. We haven't had a big Sword and Sandals, big, like, I don't know. I'm talking myself in circles here. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to lock in that 4.0 because I wrote it down on the piece of paper.
Yeah.
I'm now realizing maybe this is going to be like a 4.5. Maybe this will be the biggest movie ever, but I'm going.
It's Nolan's trajectory is really interesting on Letterbox. Interstellar is a 4.4, Oppenheimer 4.2, The Prestige 4.2, Inception 4.2, 4. Prestige was 4.3. I'm going 4.2. I think
Okay.
Nolan heads ride for Nolan. And once again, I like Nolan. I'm right there with people in my love for his filmmaking, and I think that historical epicness of the film, it's less than 3 hours, which is surprising, is what people were saying. But I think it'll still hit people hard. People are going to watch it in IMAX 70 millimeter, and that experience alone will give it that boost. So 4.2 is what I'm locking in.
You are probably right here. I know you said at the beginning, you shot your shot and you said you're going to do better at this game than me. And I think this is the first time where I'm truly feeling that threat with the Odyssey coming in. Uh, Cut off at 31. This is on July 17th. We're trucking along here.
I don't know much
Yeah, I don't
here.
know much either.
Like Jonah Hill, Kristen Wiig, directed by Jonah Hill.
I went with a 3.3 because I think comedies with that cast, like I think Kristen Wiig is phenomenal. So I think people will like it, but I'm not as hopeful as I wish I could be.
I'm gonna go and say 3.4.
Three.
Yeah, I hopefully he goes. It's a little bit closer to mid 90s, which is a solid project, but I can see people not loving this one as much.
Yeah, 100%. Next film on the docket, trucking through Evil Dead. We have the new Evil Dead. I think this is Burn. Evil Dead Burn here.
Your favorite franchise?
I mean, I really do like the Evil Dead franchise, at least the first
Yeah.
four. I did not see Evil Dead Rise, I'll be honest. I didn't see that one. What is your predictions for Evil Dead?
Evil Dead Rise had a 3.1, and I could see people being right on the money here, so I'm gonna go a 3 is my best guess. I'm gonna go maybe a little bit lower than Evil Dead Rise. I really am not an Evil Dead person, so I have no clue. Even based on trailer, I haven't seen it. So yeah, that's gonna be my best guess is a 3.
I went three as well. I think three is pretty solid for this one. I think it won't be as high as Rise, but I think it'll set this up next because I know we have another one coming out. So they're pretty confident about this franchise right now. A franchise that I have a little less confidence in, but still actually, I'm guessing a higher score, so maybe more confidence, is Spider Man. The average Spider Man score for Tom Holland is a 3.5, but the average MCU score for the past releases is a 3.1. I'm guessing a 3.3. I think this is going to be pretty solid, but I think it won't reach the highs of the last one. I think people really, really loved the last one in part because of the nostalgia, because of like
Yeah,
cramming all of them in. And this one does have some cameos and callbacks, and it's, forging new ground, different director. I think it'll be good, but I think people will miss the nostalgia factor of the last one.
I agree there. I'm gonna go with 3.4 myself.
Okay. 3.4 for Derrick here. I didn't see this one. This isn't going to be a new franchise. Fall. I didn't see the first one. Women on a tower not wanting to fall. Fall 2,
Well,
you like?
I never watched Fall, but anytime I look up The Fall, I've seen this poster way too many
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
2.6 for the first one. How they got a second one, I guess there's a huge fan base for the Fall franchise, if we can even say that. But based on the scores what I'm seeing, you have a widespread. Give me 2.7. It might be a little bit higher. People might like this because they like the first one. But who knows what this Fall 2 is going to be about.
It's a simple premise, but it feels like running the concept into the ground. So I'm going with a 2.3. Speaking of running a concept into the ground, hello, we have Ice Cream Man. Ice Cream Man, August 7th. Now, this director's last film, Borderlands, was a 1.9. But the Addison Rae starring vehicle Thanksgiving has a very lovely score of a 2.9. So I'm sticking in the twos. Sticking in the twos, I'm going to do a 2.5. I think this is going to be a pretty average horror film.
Yeah, 2.5. I'm going to go 2.5. I could see this being pretty fun. I have a love for a good campy aware horror film. I think that's what it will be in that sense. And I can see myself being a lot higher on this, but a general audience member, especially title alone, Ice Cream Man, the poster itself is not really exciting me here.
The next film we have is a romance film. This has been the year of romance films. We have One Night Only, Callum Turner back into a romance film again. This is August 7th. Where are you going for One Night Only, girl? No, that's one.
I was like, okay, we're making up songs now. Same director as Anyone But You, which is I was kind of shocked. It was at a 2.8. I thought it was a little bit more well received than that. Easy A's, another one I believe is the same director, 3.4. I was trying to do all the math here. I think a 3.2 feels pretty solid here. Monica Barbaro, Caleb Turner, maybe There Will Be Love, Maya Hawke is in it, Julia Fox, LeVar Burton. I think just cast wise, it might have that not cult classic romance. It's kind of crazy to think that romance can is feeling cultish in a way. Like it feels like it's underrated. Not a lot of people are clamoring for it, but we're not getting a lot of it from big studios. So did I say 3.4? I'm gonna go a little bit lower and say 3.3 actually here.
3.3. Okay. I also went a 3.3, and this was my logic here. Eternity got a 3.7, but You, Me, and Tuscany is at a 2.9, which I was very surprised at. I've heard really good things about this film. I do, whenever I see a film with a predominantly black cast with a low letterbox score like that, when all I'm hearing from my mutuals is good things, I wonder. I wonder. And so
I
maybe I don't even need to wonder. Maybe it just is. And so I'm curious. I think Monica Barbaro, Academy Award nominated. I do think I'll like this one, but I went a 3.3 because I think that romance films have not been getting the love and attention that maybe they need and deserve. Shout out Lewis likes movies. I know it's his favorite genre. And hopefully this one is one that, you know, gets the audience's love and attention. Super Troopers 3
super true. We're both of us are like, oh, another one here.
sequel had a 2.7. So I think this is going to be a 2.5.
Yeah. I don't these are movies that I genuinely wonder how they got greenlit. Like how did they get the money
Self-finance.
and find so I shout out, and maybe I want to support it. I don't know. But yeah, 2.5 is where I'm going here.
Now, we've got The End of Oak Street coming out. The End of Oak Street. Very excited for this one. It follows same director as Under the Silver Lake.
I have not seen a single movie from this director, so that's on me. I know Lewis loves movies. Loves It Follows, one of his favorite horror films. Haven't seen Under the Silver Lake, which is sitting at a 3.4.
Rago loves that
Which
one.
yeah, I feel like I'm gonna love these movies, but based off of the scores that we have, 3.4, maybe a 3.3. I don't know that there's a dinosaur element here that was throwing me off from the trailer, and I think might throw some people off, with the time switch because it's not a direct kind of. I don't even know what Under the Silver Lake was, but supernatural element here. But yeah, I think a 3.3, just a little bit lower, is going to be my best guess.
I went lower as well. I went a 3.2, and I actually used the Cloverfield films as a comp for this. There's a lot of theorizing online. Some of my favorite content creators have been talking about how this is a secret Cloverfield sequel in some ways.
Okay.
And so Cloverfield Paradox, which is the last film in the Cloverfield franchise, holds a 2.3. And I think this film is going to be really good, but I do wonder, similar to you, if the sci-fi elements of the film will lose people. Cast is great. Concept looks a lot of fun, but I'm a little bit wary about if they do actually make those connections to the Cloverfield franchise a reality, how that will affect the film. So I went with a 3.2. We're pretty close there. Now, neither of us have kids. You have dogs. I have a dog.
Yeah, you have a dog.
Paw Patrol is the next film on the release schedule. The other two are at 2.7. I'm going 2.7.
I'm going 2.7 here too. Not that hard for me.
Yeah. Do you know anything about the next one on the list?
The rivals of no, I don't actually.
Yeah, I have no idea. We do have a mutual, Marco, just a guy from Austin, Texas, who likes movies and gave this a 5 stars.
Okay.
Yeah, so ATX movie guy gave this 5 stars. I think someone else, gave it like a 4 star. People are liking it. It's currently at a 3.6. But here's the thing. I didn't like Lost Bus. I'm not liking Matthew McConaughey's
Yeah.
most recent things. I'm giving a 3.3 based on Lost Bus's 3.2.
I could see that with Matthew McConaughey, that 3.6. In the Vast of Night, I have heard pretty decent things. I know some people really enjoy that film. And maybe it's because of that Austin connection. I'm gonna not give it. Could you imagine if I said 5 stars? But I actually do have a mutual here as well that gave it 5 stars. So I'm gonna go a little bit higher, and I'm gonna go 3.7. I want to have fun with this one. This one could be a really interesting. I mean, it has Cole Sprouse, and Kurt Russell. Anything is possible when you have
Yeah.
that type of cast.
Yeah, the cast is crazy. Also crazy that we have yet another Insidious film on the horizon. Did not know this franchise was still happening without Patrick Wilson. Where are you going for the new Insidious?
I think what was fun about this list exercise is like, oh, I didn't know we're getting another Insidious movie. The first one got a 3.2. This is way further in the franchise. It's a horror film. I'm gonna go 2.9 is my guess. I don't think it'll be nearly as good as any of the other ones.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the average of all of them is a 2.7. So I don't know if the phrase nearly as good as the rest of them exist for this franchise. It does feel like the franchise started with a good idea and really lost steam. I'm going with a 2.3. Now we have a constant, someone who just like every year has a new film coming out. Jason Statham's Mutiny. I looked at Beekeeper. I looked at Working Man. I looked at the action films that this man has been doing recently. All of his scores are in the twos. I don't see this one being different. I think this is going to be a really fun 2.8.
I'm going to 2.6 here.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, that he's booked and busy.
I just don't know if the Jason Statham style of action film is my go-to.
Mine neither. I walked out of Operation Fortune, one of the few films I've ever walked out of. But me and my friend were like, "This is a kind of a waste of our time at this point."
But would a spa weekend be a waste of your time? Or would you walk out of a spa? Like, would you walk out of a spa weekend is the big question of the next film on this list.
Yeah, we have director of Bad Moms on here, one
Mhm.
of your favorites. Um,
I don't think
just
it's a
love saying
bad
that.
movie. I like Bad Moms.
Oh, there you go. See,
It's
what about a Bad Mom's
I
Christmas?
couldn't tell you anything about it. Stay away from Christmas.
Okay, gotcha. So I'm gonna go a 2.7. It's a comedy. I haven't heard a lot of anything, to be honest. Been just going based off of the Bad Mom scores. That's where it seems it might land.
And my eyes do show me a 2.5 for my score here to Al Pacino it up. I do think it's going to be not reach the highs of the Bad Moms 2 point on the list there. We got a remake. We got a remake next on the list. Cliffhanger. It's coming out on August 28th. We're on the final weekend of summer. Oh, original got a 3.2. Uh, Going at 2.4. I don't see this working.
I could see that. I mean, recently we've had what's the guy who free
Roadhouse?
solos? Oh, no, no, no.
Sorry.
I was talking about the real life person,
Oh,
Alex.
I don't know. People can't see me doing an impression.
You're actually there. If you guys can't see what he's doing, which now we have video for our podcast, so you will see Daniel rock climbing. Maybe free soloing and cliff rock climbing is in the zeitgeist right now. It's cool to do that. So I see this being a 2.9, which I know sounds low, but who knows? People might be into it.
I typed in a 3 before you said that because you were like, okay, I guess Derek is
No,
really
no, no,
really
no,
excited
no,
this
no.
one.
No, I can't hype it up that much, but 2.9 feels solid there.
2.9 feels solid. Now, maybe not excited for that one. I am excited for the next one because this film has been broiled in all of the Warner Brothers, like, let's file away this movie so no one can see it because we want to have a tax break kind of stuff. We're talking Coyote versus Acme, Will Forte in the lead human role here. I like the world of the Looney Tunes. I am wearing a Looney Tunes hat right now, unplanned. He got a 3.5. So where are you going for Coyote Acme?
I think a 3.6. I think just off of people's support alone, it's going to be not like review loved, but I think it just will be more beloved than other movies in this, not franchise, but universe.
I believe in the Looney Tunes. I believe in this movie. I'm going just 1 star above you. I'm going to go with a 3.7 here. We are now down to the final 3 movies of summer.
All right.
And one of the kings of film, one of the giants who are still alive here, Sir Ridley Scott, the Dog Stars, has a film coming out. And what we know about Sir Ridley Scott is that he always tries in his movies. All of his movies are huge hits. All of them are 5 out of 5 masterpieces. Never has made a mess in his life. Last 3 star like, the last average of his last 3 movies were 3. The last movie he had above a 3.5 was The Martian. Like, that's something to note. The
Mm,
last movie he had above a
yeah.
3.5, was The Martian. I'm saying 3.1. I think it's a solid cast. I I really like, wanting to see Jacob Elordi in a new environment. I think Margaret Qualley's great. Josh Brolin has been doing amazing work from films like Weapons. So I love the cast, but he had a great cast for Gladiator and he didn't know how to use it. And
Yeah.
so I'm a little bit wary about his care, how much his lack of care will show up in this film. Where are you going for it?
I'm going to 3.4. I I maybe I'm a Ridley Scott,
You do love
yeah,
yeah,
I don't wanna say defender, but it's kind of the nostalgia of Ridley Scott and his films. They have this I love Robin Hood,
you
like
do love
we
Robin Hood.
talked about
Yeah, yeah, I was
earlier.
about to say.
But I personally okay, maybe let me take what I might rate the film
Okay.
because that actually that's a good clarification. I think I might like this film more than other people. So
Mhm.
let me take that out. I'm gonna go a little bit lower, point 0.3. I think it'll be above a Gladiator 2. This I hate the title. I don't like the dog stars for some reason. When I realized this was the name of a Ridley Scott movie, I was like, not a big fan of this. So I think it might just throw people off into what to expect, what they're gonna watch. But maybe people will be like me and they think Ridley Scott's back.
Finding Emily, know nothing
I
about
think
this
that may
movie. It really feels like we're ending on a really high spot here with these 2. So, Mean Girls, the musical, one of the movies that our friend Lewis walked out on, is a 2.5, and Gory Rice was the lead star of that. I don't know why, but I decided to use Mean Girls as the comp here. I don't know if people are gonna love this movie. I'm going with a 2.8.
I've seen a couple people already rate this, but it felt like they're just people from the crew who gave it 5 stars off the bat, and I was like, okay, that's not really helping this. But I could see a Forbidden Fruits moment, which is sitting at a 3.2.
Okay.
And that's where I'm gonna go.
The final film of the summer used to be called, I believe, Shitheads, now is called Idiots. And where are you going for Idiots/Shitheads?
Idiots wasn't as well received at Sundance. I mean, it's sitting at a 3.3, and that's with festival buzz. So I can see this going just smack dab 3 is what I'm gonna go for. I think it'll just go down in estimation, but it could also be a fun comedy. But I just don't see it being as beloved, especially with the name change. They should have kept it as the Shitheads.
Yeah, yeah, it's a cop out for me. I went with a 3.1. We gotta take into account that, a lot of those people are seeing so many movies at a time. They're hyped because 'cause they're with their friends. I see that kind of going down a little bit, and you and me are partially responsible for some of those inflated scores when we go to our festivals. I know you have the diff coming up. That's our summer of releases. That's the math. The most anticipated, I'm just gonna run down mine real quick. I'm most excited for Disclosure Day, The Invite, End of Oak Street, The Odyssey, and Back Rooms. I think it's gonna be a genre-filled summer. What are you most excited? I know you kind of listed them during, but where are you going with your 5 most excited?
Yeah, I'm excited for Is God Is. I love boosters. Disclosure Day, even though I, I may not be as excited as I probably once was. The Odyssey and Coyote versus Acme because I kind of want to support that film. I want just it to succeed and I want it to be really, really good. And it being shelved, maybe they shelved a good thing and try to write it off.
Yeah. This was so much fun to talk through the summer with you. What movies are you looking forward to seeing soon? What movies are you looking forward to talking about the podcast soon?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, Daniel, you're killing the game. This has been a really fun podcast, and I think summer is stacked.
Yeah.
I was really I love this exercise of just getting to run through these movies. I don't think I often look this far ahead when it comes to releases, but it gets me excited to see what movies are on the calendar. And I've said that 2026 might be a really amazing year for film, and it's coming out to be just that already with so many of these releases from festivals that we're getting to be a part of. makes me really excited. So a lot of the movies that I'm excited to see are from these festivals. So
Yeah.
I want to see I Love Boosters. I want to see Hokum coming out, Obsession. I'll be at the Dallas International Film Festival next week, and like Obsession, if they go, Will They Miss Me is going to be playing at the festival, and I know that's one of people's favorites for the year. So yeah, those are the movies that I'm really, really stoked for. What about you?
Yeah. I'm really, really excited for The Invite, getting to see that. Basically, the whole lineup for Chicago Critics Festival, which is my first time going to that festival. So that's going to be fun. That's the opening night, is The Invite. I'm excited for I Want Your Sex. I know you already got to see that one. I recently got
So
into
good.
Greg Araki, so I'm really excited for that one. And yeah, the one that you just mentioned, the with Daniel Brooks, I think looks amazing. I'm also excited for the big ones we talked about today. Disclosure Day really has my heart. I'm really trying to grind through these 30 something Spielbergs before we get there. And I'm excited to watch those and talk about those with everyone. But overall, I'm so excited for our decades, because doing the research for the 90s and what was happening in the United States got me stoked. So
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk about that with you on the podcast.
Yeah, no, it's kind of funny that we really did break it down because I was like, oh wow, we do need to break this up because we could go on a tangent like just America, but globally.
Yeah.
Like there was so much that I was learning about, and the 50s is a pivotal decade for film, and I'm excited to jump into that on our next pod.
Yeah. Before then, where can people find you?
They can find me TikTok, Instagram at SimiViews, SIMI.views, also on YouTube, Shorts, Facebook, if you want. I don't know if you're scrolling on Facebook, but you can also find the Screen God podcast on Instagram, TikTok. We're on YouTube, so if you want to watch there, follow us there, then Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But where can they find Daniel Film Therapy / Daniel's Thoughts?
Daniel Film Therapy / Daniel's Thoughts. Daniel's Thoughts on Letterboxd, but you can just look up Daniel Film Therapy, and I'll come up there as well. And then I'm on Instagram, I am on TikTok, and I have some videos on YouTube. And you can also email us at the Screen Guide Podcast at gmail.com if you have thoughts, if you have feedback. We can't wait to hear from you. We're going to put up polls for what movies from the 1950s you feel are most important. We might put up a poll this week about what films you're most excited about for the summer. Whether you think we got our predictions wrong, you can let us know. Either way, we want to hear from you, and we want you to be involved. As we keep on saying, this is not a guide for us, it's a guide for everyone, and we hope to hear from you as well. You've been listening to the Screen Guide Podcast.
We've been your guides.
And we filled the blank this time with the guide to summer 2026.
And don't forget to put it in your ears.